Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today we'll be doing a head-to-head between the Tonex One and the Line 6 Pod Express bass. Specifically, I think I said that right. Told y'all, listen, I play bass. the deep setting, the amp models, right? We're doing just amp models, just to keep it nice and even. Plus, for me, the Pod Express bass is the best part of it is the amp models. Those are the best things in there. Everything else, but the Tonex, I went on the ToneNet, and when you get it, one thing that's not being talked about a whole lot is about the Tonex One, is when you get one, you also get like a you know you get kind of like a multi effects unit. Like if you combine when you combine it with your computer, an Amplitude 5 SE that comes with it. So it comes with Tonex SE, which allows you to model your amps and all that stuff. But then it also comes with Amplitude 5, which a lot of people aren't really talking about. Amplitude 5 also has bass effects in there. So you'll have more effects than you'll have in this Line 6 Pod Express. And you'll have more amp models because you can create your own, or you can go on the ToneNet and they have some very good ones. I suggest, and it's just me, I like the way the preamp the preamps are exact clones. They're exact. Like when you do them in a high advanced mode on the modeler, they're exact. So I've taken the time. I didn't do this M9 Carbine one because that's what we're doing today. We're working through the M9 Carbine tone, pretty much the amp models. On the It's on under deep on. So the way you'll get to it on the Pod Express bass, if you turn this big knob in the middle and turn it to deep, and that'll put you on there. I've already taken the time to disable the cabinet sims, because I don't like the cabinets on there. And just to make it even, I didn't add a cabinet to the Tonex One either. So what you were hearing, the first bit was my bass with a little with special comp on, which is a multi-band compressor, but that was it. Then you heard the Tonex One, and then you heard the Line Six Pod Express bass version, and both of those pedals were set to the M9 Carbine, either um, what are they calling these tone models, and and they call these amp models. So it just depends. Um, I would definitely say the Tonex One is definitely spot on to how that sounds. Now the thing about the Pod Express bass one, it seems to have a really high gain setting right off the back. Like even if I have, let's say I turn, let me turn this up. So it's like it's ready to overdrive already by itself. And you got to keep the gain real low. But then you run into the thing of, let's see, you can run into volume issue there. But um, so, and there's also another way you can control on the Line 6 Pod Express bass. You press Alt. You got to do all this mental and finger gymnastics on here to get to anything useful. Um, but you can turn up the actual amp volume. So you got the gain, then you got the amp volume, then you got the channel volume, then you got the volume on the side of the unit itself. But the one on the side of the unit itself is the master volume for the entire unit. So if you get the unit and it's not making any sound, definitely check out that little pinwheel there. It's this little thing right here is next to the headphone jack on the side. But that's your main master volume, and then you got your digital channel volume on here too. So so that can be a nice rock sound. Like I said, my favorite part of the Pod Express bass is the deep amp model. I mean, well, not the deep amp model itself, but the amp models itself. Like those are those one. That's the only effect on there that really has a good amount of control over it. With the amp models, you at least get a gain. You get gain, mids, bass, treble. You get a amp volume as well. So you get 5 parameters you can control over the amp model versus everything else. You only get one. You get to turn it until it goes to the next effect, until it goes to the next effect, next effect. You know, but that's really just the amount of compression. With that, the amount of you know, distortion, and the amount of octave, rada, and the amount of chorus, the mix of the chorus, the mix of the flanger, and so forth and so on. You can control the tempo for the delay and with the top tempo, and you also, if you don't know, if you hold it down, you get a tuning too. But You got to hold these two down to get to your preset. So, I'm not going to go back to my preset right now. I'm going to leave it like this because this is pretty clean, and this will work for what we're trying to do, which is kind of apples. Not really apples to apples because it's not really fair. Like, to be honest, it's not even close. Like, the Tonex One, it sounds so much better for me. And if I want to add some overdrive or some distortion or something, I can with something else, But I would want to keep that like that because that M9 on there was taken with it was captured with it flat. So and it was definitely done on a higher quality mode on there. When you do this stuff on a higher quality mode, it's spot on. So, just to give you a quick example of something in the room, let's do. We'll take the Magellan real quick, just so you guys have a quick understand what I'm saying, how accurate this Tonex is, um, on the amp models. Let me see something. Let me see where is it? Because, and I just want to do this real quick. Here we go. Actually, I want to do it on here. All right, there we go. And the good thing about it is, everything I already did to the other amp, all I gotta do is flip back to it. But here's the Magellan Pre. Here's the one on the Tonex. So it just gets spot on with stuff. It gets it directly. Yeah, it gets it spot on for the most part. And then you just can EQ it the rest of the way from there. Like anything that you're missing, like the EQ allows you to get it back, or the actual settings allow you to get in there and really edit things. Of course, on the pedal, just right off the back on your pedal, you can do just EQing it. The EQ, if you have your EQ set the right way, it'll be, for bass. I actually turn mine all the way down. You got to go in the software and turn all. I turn my bass frequency all the way down to 75, and that way it only shelves up everything under 75. And that just, if I need more bottom to my amp model, my tone model, whatever the case, the capture, then I will. If I need more gain, I try to add a little gain. That's another little trick too for the bass stuff. If you add a little gain right after you do the capture, so when you're listening to the real amp and the live, the one you just the capture you just did, and you flipping back and forth, add a little bit of gain to that, um, to the tone, the tone model, and that'll help you out on the back end. Especially when you go to use this, like I do. I plan on using it as a preamp for my amps and stuff. So I only have preamps right now, and they're like different head preamps, all the ones I have in the room, and all my settings. So finally got that TC Electronic BH500 in there, and that joint sounds exactly like it. You know, I got all my preamp pedals, so like I'm gonna be able to abbreviate this board here. I'm gonna actually take all of these three preamps off. As you can see, they take up quite a bit of real estate. They're pretty big. Um, and to be honest, it's I don't want to have that much. A lot of gigs, I do get some really decent paying gigs. I make a living at music, but I don't want to take that much, bread with me all the time. Like that's a lot of money just with the preamps. You know what I'm saying? So, you take those off, it makes the board a lot less pricey. Which is for me when I'm just doing, these little one-off gigs or just quick in and out stuff. I would rather not have, my actual precious analog preamps out as much, So this Tonex One is just perfect for that for me. So, um, but I think, um, even if all my stuff will be available. All my tone models will be available for you guys to buy very soon. So I'm still doing a lot of them, and um, if some real soon I got to get me some new mics. I'm going to get me the mics I prefer when miking up cabinets, which is a SM57 and a RE20. Um, so I can just capture all the cabinets and like all the combinations of preamps and cabinets and preamps and heads. Um, for instance, sometimes I like to use that Harkey tube preamp in the um, Harkey TX600 and keep that flat, right? Keep the amp flat, and then I like to run other stuff through it and it adds that nice little tube um, saturation to the sound, additional tube saturation to the sound. So it gets pretty cool that way too. You know, but I can take these and put them down there on this board, and I'll take probably. I know that deep freeze. The deep freeze got to come up on my regular gig board. That was one of the reasons I got it was because it needs to go on my main performance board. This little one is my main performance board now, just because I try to reduce how much. You don't want to take so much money out the house all the time. You want to just take, for some gigs, you just want to take, I really just be wanting to take my bass, and something like a Tonex One is going to be perfect because I can just take my bass, a preamp, I got a tuner in there, I got, if I need a compressor, I can run it in there, you know what I'm saying? If I need the EQ, I can EQ in here, and then let that just be what it is. But the compressor on here, I don't particularly like. I think I would like for them, IK, to add some FET compressor and a tube compressor to that. And just like they did with the reverb, you can go on the software and change the reverb, the type of reverb. They give you like 5 reverbs. They gave us like 2 or 3 different types of compressors. That would be awesome. Um, you know, maybe some more flexibility um with the EQ a little bit. That might help. You know what I'm saying? You know, but maybe in the software, we can do things a little bit. They still of course they're still improving the software. They're always going to be improving the software. It's not easy to do this stuff and get it this accurate so the average person can just model stuff. Oh, let's play some more, man. We're doing a lot of talking today, but I just wanted to do a little bit more explaining of the unit, that of things like in the other videos I did of the comparisons. It was more the medium level tone capture. So, like from now on, I mean, all my stuff I've been able to do high quality captures of, because like I said, they'll be available for sale. So, but the high qualities take so long. It take like over for the usually for bass amps that aren't overdriven. It take about an hour or two. For overdriven stuff, I've heard guys say up to 5 hours. Sheesh. You know, but so that's why we got to charge for 'em. I ain't even gonna lie. Plus, you got to buy the gear, then you got to model it, and that takes a while. And because you got to do a quality. If I'm gonna sell it to you guys, I'm not gonna give you something that's junk or the medium quality. I might, you know, I'm not going back through doing the medium quality, Jane. So y'all just gotta buy them at the high quality, cause I mean they ain't gonna be crazy. Oh, subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate all y'all support lately. I really do appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging with me. But yeah. So let's run these through. I'll run them through my B6 chain. I use my Zoom B6 as like the finishing part of finishing parts of my sound. So I'm running a limiter 76 effect on there, which is just a limiter 1176 style limiter. Then I'm running a Aguilar 410 with a tweeter, mic'd up with a SM57 and RE20 IR on there, and the pre 1073 only for the saturation, no EQ, so it's just a little gain on 25 and level on 100, and everything else is left flat. So here we go. Line 6 Pod Express bass. I will say the Line 6 one, yes, it'll be great for rock stuff, but it is mad difficult to get that joint not to be um, overdriven, pretty much. Like I'm really struggling to get it to be clean, you know. Like this is clean, and this is overdriven. See if we get a little more bottom out of it. Turn the bottom of the bass all the way up. There we go, a little better. That's a little better. So it's difficult to get it to be clean. Like that's the hard part with it. You know, um, it's not that the amp sounds bad per se. It's just you're gonna have to have the volume down, like the gain really down on that one to get it clean. Especially if you have an active bass like mine, where it's gonna, I'm running on 18 volts, so it's definitely a lot of gain. I mean, a lot of signal coming out of here. So trying to mitigate some of that. There we go, a little bit better. There we go. That's a little cleaner. There we go. See, now I got it a lot closer there. It took a lot more work. It took a lot more work to get it there. That's a lot closer though. I pretty much had to turn the bass all the way up. Let me see what I got. I turned the gain down to one light, right? Just trying to give you guys my settings. So, um, because I'm not gonna be using this Line Six Pod Express bass, personally, but I want to help even still, people that may be using it. Not my favorite pedal, but that doesn't mean that if you like it and it's useful to you, that I don't want you to use it. It's just Zoom stuff is better. And Zoom's not paying me either. So I just like Zoom stuff better than that. Better than especially this. You know, Zoom stuff is way easier to use. It just sounds good right off the back for the most part, either it's usable or it's not. Like that's the thing. Like either it's the sound you're looking for or it's not. Like with the Line Six, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Have fun with that, guys. Let's see what they sound like running through an ampeg 410s. And only difference with this one, with these next few, is going to be that it'll be a 160 compressor on it. Threshold, just at a 2-to-1 ratio. Really, we can move this up to 4-to-1, hardly, and we'll go from there. all these this is an ampeg 410s mic'd up with a SM57 and an RE20 as well, and that was the Tonex One. And here is the Line 6 Pod Express M9 Carbine. So they both sound good there. Like they both sound good. Coming through that Ampeg 410 IR on the Zoom B6, it's just a matter of taste there. What you like more, what you don't. You know, some people are going to like the more overdriven sound on the Line 6 Pod Express bass. Some people are going to like the cleaner sound that I'm getting there. And mind you, this is a free tone model that you can just go and download once you buy a Tonex One. You can just download Tonex SE and Amplitude 5 SE, and it's gonna come with a few other little like demos and stuff like that, or software. It's gonna come with some other stuff too, but for the most part, yeah, if both of these sound good in the amp models, you know what I'm saying? So I can't complain. Yes, I think the Tonex One is closer. I think the Tonex One probably is about spot on to what the actual amp is. But it doesn't mean that the Line 6 one isn't usable. I don't look for necessarily, if I want the actual sound, I'll get the actual thing. Like that's why I have these, you know, these here. If I need something like extremely close, like, or almost exact, like it's really not as distinguishable as people would be trying to make it sound like. Like the average listener can tell you the difference between it. They cannot tell you the difference between none of that stuff, the real one and all of that. It's not never gonna be a real SVT. Well, you carry around that joint and look all crazy while everybody else walking in the gig with a Tonex One or their little Pod Express or even their little Zoom B6. And the Zoom B6 VST in here is very nice. Sounds very good and sounds very. You would not be able to tell the difference once you mic'd it up and processed everything on a track. You ain't gonna be able to tell the difference either. Like people these people just stuck with, I need to carry around this. It's just because you bought it already and you stuck with it don't mean everybody else gotta go and get one and get stuck with it too. You can do the same thing without carrying around all that junk no more. And really, if you stop worrying about stuff like that, you can start worrying about you're actual playing a lot more. Like, you know how, and you can get a much more diverse sound by having an array of preamps or array of amp heads to choose from that day. These days, amp heads aren't even as expensive as they used to. Like that SVT CL they sell, the Heritage one, I believe it is. I think like $2,800 for an amp head. Nah, nah. Like that's some stuff you buy and it just sit there in the house. You play it in your house. Like nobody's taking that. I'm not taking that out anywhere. Why would I carry that anywhere? I don't even want to carry that head. That head is 30 pounds and that's lighter than that drink. And I don't want to take that. And that has a massive sound. You know what I did? I threw it in this Tonex pedal, and guess what? It's it's never gonna. You're never gonna be able to tell the difference. And not only that, but I got a bunch of other tone profiles in there that I can use for various things too. So I can also anybody's amp head that I can borrow, or any amp head I can get my hands on, or preamp I can just model, or fuzz, stomp box, any EQ. Um, I can take a snapshot of my settings because in reality, when you have more than one preamp and things like that, you have your favorite settings that you go to on it, and then you pretty much stay with that. Like it's not that complicated where I need to change my EQ there. I told y'all a million videos. My EQ comes from my bass. I EQ a lot on my bass. I keep my amps about the same, and that allows me to just do what I need to do for my bass and not have to change so much. And then the rest is done with your fingers and everything else from there. Like, if you really got the tone you want, then the rest is done with your fingers. Switching techniques or, dynamics in your fingers and different things, neck placement, whether I'm playing here sounds different than me playing here. So it just a lot of EQing can be done with your fingers too. So, even in addition to whatever EQ settings, because all I have is bass, treble, and then I have high mids and low mids. If I pull, I only get one at a time. So, um, I go with my high mids and boost those a little bit for my finger style, and I push the knob in when I want to access my low mids, and I cut those for if I want to slap and pop or something like that. So, you know, but with that to say, that's one of the reasons why the Tonex One works for me. I can take a snapshot of all my preamp stuff and all my amp heads and carry all that stuff in one little pedal with me. That's pretty much that exact sound. It's not. Yes, is there always going to be a need? Well, is there still a need to have the actual thing in the arsenal? Yes. For now. But who's to say that, in the next, if they can do this in this little pedal, in the next few years it's about to get real crazy with the uh, technology stuff, the IR, the AI stuff. Impulse response is about to be crazy, or whatever the next thing is, they're gonna call it. But yeah, so let's get to some examples of it running through the actual amp. So, let's see what we got. So now we got it running through this, using my Harkey head as my power amp, and I'm running through this Fender Bassman Neo 115 with a tweeter, mic'd up with some CAD mics, a GXL 2200 condenser mic, and a D10 dynamic mic. So it's a kick drum mic, so it's meant for lower frequencies. But yeah, let's hear a little bit of that. Here's with just my bass. Line 6. So you get a real nice tone with that joint coming through an actual cabinet as the preamp as well. And this is one of the things I love about multi effects units in general. Um, you can kind of have a little bit of all your stuff in there, like just between the Tonex and the Zoom B6, you pretty much got every amp option in IR, available to you. You know what I'm saying? Like any ones you can make, and generally some general good ones on there as well. Plus you got Amplitude, and that has additional amp models in there that they've like done, super fancy and all that stuff, along with the cab models. The way you can emulate, the way they can do the mic placement and stuff on there, the amount of captures they did to allow you to be able to move that mic like that, backwards and forwards, up and down, on the XY axis, side to side, XYZ axis actually. Let me see, yeah, up, down, left, right. You know, it's like it lets you move it in a 3D space, which is crazy. But yeah, so I would say Um, these sound amazing. Both of them. The Tonex one, of course, sounds a lot more accurate. It just does. And me sounds better, but I'm not one to. If I want to add some overdrive or distortion or something like that, I'm not usually looking for that from. Well, I do. I do like when some amps do it. But I try to. I particularly like to place it somewhere else in the chain. And I like to have my amps be clean. That way I can place that overdrive maybe in front of a filter, and that way the filter sweeps over the overdrive, and it now has adds a gritty texture to the filter sweep. Things like that, especially for synth. So I don't take. By the time my sound gets to the amp models and stuff, just the same way when I'm playing live, like I've had a Ampeg BA210 V2 for like 10 years now, and I've never used a scrambler circuit because I don't use the overdrive on my amp. Because one, I don't have a foot switch. You know, I don't want to have to turn it on and off from my amp. I just like to do it from pedals, basically. So, um, and when the B6 allows you to load IRs as well, and has its own way of manipulating them, like with these lows and highs and the balance and negative. You can invert the phase and do on a negative balance and things like that and everything else. So that's pretty cool. You just get less options. You know, and that's a capture. You can look at that like a capture of an amp. You know, it's a IR. It's just the way that amp sounds. I mean, that cabinet sounds. You know, that the IRs is just the way the cabinet sounds by itself, with mic'd up with those two mics coming through whatever console they took it through. So, but yeah, here's the Tonex One coming through the Fender Bassman Neo. So they sound good. Like both of them sound good. Even coming through the real amp. I mean the real cabinet. I keep saying amp. Even coming through a real cabinet, coming through the IRs. You know they sound good as well. You know, what else? Let's see. We'll do another IR in a second, because I do want to at least do an Ampeg 810 mic'd up, with a D20. I mean RE20 rather. It's a D20. And I want to do this Zoom H5 stereo condenser mics on the cabinet. It's a little, and this should give you a little bit more of what it sounds like in the actual room itself. I really do like the way that both of them sound. You know, like I said, this is the Tonex one. So, but yeah. So they definitely one thing I recommend on the Tonex too. When you after you do your captures, you might I would go and turn up the depth all the way up. Like I turn it all the way up because it just for me it's like other than that it's like it cuts off some of the sound. So I wanted to get all of the sound. Like I want the complete frequency range that it has to offer. So I leave the presence at noon. So but then I turn the depth all the way up on the Tonex software. So you got to do that in the software. All right. Okay. Cool. So let's check out this Ampeg 810 cabinet with them. Line 6. Tonex One. So, you know, ultimately, of course, you're gonna get, you know, tone amp models versus like what the Tone X does is a little different. You know what I'm saying? So like the Tone X definitely, you got to understand the Tone X is like you taking one particular EQ setting on and the sound of your amp. Like, so say you just EQ'd your amp, right? Your amp head, and then you plugged in a DI. And you plugged in a XLR and you plugged it into a console. That's the sound, the exact sound it's going to give you, right? But it's not going to give you none of the other EQ settings or settings you might have, EQ curves you might use on that amp under that one capture. So you have to make multiple captures of the same amp with different EQ settings, or different gain settings if you want to overdrive it, you know. But and then from there, once you make the setting, you can make other adjustments with the EQ, the depth, the presence, um, adding reverb, compression, or noise gate, things like that in the Tone X software. Now, if you want to take that amp and really manipulate it, you can take it and put it in the Amplitude software, um, and you just got to take. I don't think they give it to you on a mobile, so I think they give you Amplitude 5 SE on the computer, but I'm not sure. I gotta check and see if I can download it on my iPad. Like, does it give me access to it on my iPad as well? Because I do have Amplitude on my iPad, but I don't think it gave me access. I don't think having it. Well, I know it doesn't because I already had Amplitude before, and it didn't give me. Let me see. Maybe I'm lunching. Yeah. Let me see something. Oh no, it does. It gave it to me. Okay. So when you get the SE, it gives you at least get a um when you go to the actual amp, if you download it on Amplitude on here, you'll be able to use an acoustic 360 amp, and any of the other ones it looks like you'd have to buy. Even the Amplitude based one, they didn't give it to you on the iPad. I have my iPad right here looking at it. So make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share it too as well as we're wrapping this video up. But yeah, so you know, if you they do have amp models already in Amplitude. You can buy additional amp models on there, or you can just make your own of your own equipment. And like I said, the purpose of that is a lot of bass players have multiple bass heads that they use. You might not want to take the captures of the cabinet and the head together are more so to go to the PA system. So if you want to take your amp from your house and put it into a pedal form and have that sound come into your in-ear monitors or your headphones at a studio, or you want to take that particular sound to a studio that you've already, mic'd it up, and you like how that sounds coming through your mixer at home, or the way it sounds in your headphones. You can the way you it sounds pretty much. If you get that sound out of your head, finally, basically, you can now capture it and not have it change from room to room. That's the purpose of it. Because if you take your favorite amplifier and and put it in different rooms and different mic setups and just changing the mic distances or the mic placement of it, it's going to sound completely different. And that's something to keep in mind when thinking about the Tonex versus, um, I guess, other units. It's not a thing of the Tonex is going to get rid of everything else. It's a thing of it complements everything else, because it finally allows you to take stuff like nobody, manufacturers are not gonna haven't been making models. They're not gonna make amp models with everything. They make amp models of the most popular things, like a B15, a SVT, um, the Galley and Kruger, usually a 800 or the 500, or things like that. Like they don't really be doing obscure amps like that. Like that's one thing that Tonex and Amplitude shine at is the amount of amp models and amp and tone models you can capture. Tone amp models, they have a limited amount of, they have a tremendous inventory of them. Like it's so many amps, you'll never be able to go through all them amps on this. For guitars, for bass players, we got a limited amount, and this helps us because they're not gonna do that head. They weren't gonna do a TC Electronic. They're not gonna go find TC Electronic BH500 head and capture it for me. But now I can do that myself. I never hardly take that rig out the house because of the weight of it. The head is 30 pounds. The cabinet is pretty light. It's only 50 pounds. The cabinet itself for a 410 with a tweeter, that ain't too bad. Today it's like heavy. Oh, 50 pounds for a 410s and a tweeter, which is crazy. Because now they got that down to 30 pounds, 35 pounds, which is bananas. Um, but, now as things are getting lighter and smaller, I might want to take multiple preamps and bypass. I even done a capture of this Harkey TX 600 head, because there's times when I might not want to have to go back there, and if I wanted that head, I would have to switch from the power amp in to an input that's going into the preamp or something like that, or I would have to take take it out the power amp in, put it back in the input. Now, because I have a capture of that head and it sounds spot on, because I did a whole bunch of high quality ones that are on advanced mode, so it got them spot on. In my opinion, that spot on is really doesn't any closer, and then we don't know the difference. You don't even know the difference now. Like if I'm gonna do a blind test on one of these videos and see everybody that's talking about it's only close, it's spot on ish, or it's only it's yeah on what people a lot of people are not telling you is a lot of these people have done captures on the medium setting, and they just we're not really distinguishing between the different qualities of them. Like that advanced quality is crazy. It's crazy. So like you know I took that head, modeled it, and did a capture of it in flat. So if I want to run my preamps through it and just get that tube saturation, I got that captured on there. But then I got it EQ'd as well. So basically, I can just go into the power amp in, and I got both of the settings that I use for that head programmed in there, so I don't have to switch inputs, and I still get the tone characteristics of a Harkey TX600. I know I'm using it, it's like it's redundant. Why was you doing the heads right there? Because I'm not switching the inputs. I'm in the middle of a show. I don't have time for this. And it's like it's a whole bunch of extra routing you'd have to do just to do that, or taking it out the thing. I ain't trying to do that, man. I be reading sheet music and turning pages on my iPad and stuff, and I got foot switches and sounds and things I'm trying to get to. I'd rather just have it programmed in the Tonex One because it's spot on. And then I have other things programmed in there too that I can just have like all my amp sounds with me all the time. Like no matter where I am, what I'm doing, in a little tiny package here, I can have all of my preamp sounds. So all four preamps I use, along with all three of the actual physical four really, but I don't. I'm not gonna say that. I just use four heads for my primary sound, like I said, and I just kind of mix and match them with the four cabinets. I mean, the three cabinets I use, which is a 210, the BA 210 V2, and Fender Bassman Neo, and a Tisa Electronic BC 410. So basically, I like to be able to mix the preamp sounds more than anything with different cabinets. Especially this Fender Bassman Neo. It sounds good with pretty much any head. I haven't run across any head it doesn't sound good with, and I wasn't a big Fender Bassman fan until recently. Like even the tone captures people did, like somebody did a 1974 Fender tube preamp that just sounds so great. It just sounds amazing. Like, but now that's another thing, guys. This Tonex allows you to try out different amps and cabinet setups before you buy them. You might want to be experimenting, and if you really like it, if you really like the sound of it, you can just go get it. You know what I'm saying? Then you can go get it. You ain't gotta go to the store and try it out. You can try it out right there at your house because somebody already put it on ToneNet, or in other cases you can get your favorite player's actual settings and capture of their actual gear. Say you can't afford a Magellan preamp or AG preamp or SGT, or you got something like the Eden down here on the floor that they don't even make anymore. None of the Eden stuff they're making anymore. But now I got the Eden sound and analog at 18 volts, preamp headroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that headroom makes a difference. So if you're going to model these, like that Magellan and 18, only one that's not 18 is this SGT, 18 volts. It's 9 volts, but it does still have a big sound. But generally, 18 volts running this Eden on 12 volts means that the preamp starts distorting at around like 1 bar up, but I can get twice as much headroom running it at 18 volts. I can get it up to 2 bars, so it would be yeah. So I can get pretty much use twice as much gain and still have it clean. So, and which equals twice as much volume. Well, not twice as much volume, but gives me a lot more volume to work with the pedal. Enough to push an actual amp head. So definitely keep this stuff in mind, man. Like this crazy. This technology is getting ridiculous, guys. Definitely check it out when you get a chance, and we'll I'll catch you guys on the next one, man. I got some other ones coming with this Line 6 and this Tonex one. I'm pretty much trying to find everything that the Line 6 has, and either I'm pretty much put it on this pedal, not keeping it on there, but so I can do a demonstration of it between the way, a lot of times people are doing, like, you got the Galley and Kruger, all that stuff on there. Like, it's all on the Tonex Plus stuff that ain't even available on this. And you can't change none of this out or change the order, none of that stuff. So But this has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I hope you guys are enjoying these comparisons, and let me know if these are helping. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Um, and leave a comments down there, any questions and all that good stuff. I try to answer people's questions. um I even try to respond I try to respond to everybody for the most part. It's not always possible, but I try. you know I appreciate all y'all. I at least try to say thank you. If you could take the time to comment, I at least try to take the time to say thank you. I don't always get to everybody's single comment, but I appreciate y'all a lot, man. So, all social media at the Bass Negus, Negus, and all my music at all basscreations.bandcamp. And I appreciate you guys. Holla at you. Peace.